And I honestly have to say, I like the way that this new Melt Cosmetics palette did this because Happy video day, guys, and happy Make Up Your Mind day. We have a brand new Make Up Your Mind today, and that's because a brand new eyeshadow palette has just been announced, and that is from Melt Cosmetics, and it's going to be called the Millennial Pinx palette. This is going to be part of their Modern Love collection that is releasing on February 7th on their website, and I believe the 14th it will be available at Sephora. The palette itself is retailing for $58 US, and guess what, guys? I decided we need to do a Make Up Your Mind for this one. I need to see if I own this. I want to see the color story. I want to get an idea of what this may look like in order for me to decide whether I want to pick up this palette or not. And if you guys are new to Make Up Your Mind, what I do in this series is anytime there's a brand new makeup release that really calls my attention. So what I try to do is go to my collection and find similar hues in my collection that kind of match the color story of the brand new release. And then by swatching them all on my arm, I can kind of get an idea of what this color story looks like, whether I already have a lot of palettes that have similar hues, and hey, if I'm even going to use this or not. And if I, at the end of the day, decide, you know what, I have enough of those colors, or I don't use those colors very often, and then I just decide I'm going to pass on the new release, and yeah, I end up making up my mind that I don't want it. But I always tell you guys that this is not a video finding dupes. This is a video finding similar hues in a collection. This is a way to decide whether you want to purchase something before actually purchasing it. I always tell you guys, look through your own collection and find your own palettes. See which colors you have in your collection. See if you already own a lot of these shades and if it is worth it for you to pick up. This video is whether it is worth it for me to pick up. So we're gonna go through my collection. I'm gonna show you guys my thought process, and at the end of the video, you will find out whether I am going to purchase this or not. And I will tell you guys, there is a palette again in this video that I believe has a lot of similar hues that if you do own, you may want to second guess. You may want to think twice. But before we get into everything, if you guys are new, I'm Christina Brooke, and take a second to hit the subscribe button if you like this type of video, because I am really trying to help you guys think twice before hitting that purchase button. And if you guys want to just have something to watch just to make you second guess something, don't forget, hit the subscribe button so you will see more of these videos. I am trying to post one every week, and yeah, of course, as long as new releases are coming out, there will definitely be a new Make Up Your Mind coming out. So definitely hit that subscribe button and let's get into the video. So like I said, there is one palette that I really think dominated this Make Up Your Mind, and that is this one right here from Natasha Denona. This is the Sunrise palette. And I will tell you guys, based off of the layout here, you may not be thinking of this new Melt Cosmetics palette, but there is some similar hues in like this section right here that make up a pretty good amount of the colors. I also had to jump into the Natasha Denona Mini Sunset, and I actually grabbed one hue from this palette. And then from the new Nude from Huda Beauty, which I figure a lot of you guys are thinking of this palette, I did have to get two hues from here. And finally, I had two hues coming out of the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions, which we actually have seen come out a few times already in different Make Up Your Minds. So those are the four palettes that I decided to search into, and I will say that I think the color story itself I was able to kind of mimic. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my results. So these are my swatches, and these are also swatches that I found online of this palette from an Insta story. So I actually also compared it to the swatches that are on the Melt Cosmetics website, but I feel like the Insta story had better lighting. So this is my guess of what these colors will look like. I decided to include in this video just a quick little live video that I took of the swatches on my arm. I just want to show you guys that I take all of my photos under natural daylight with no flash from my iPhone. My iPhone has really good quality, and I will tell you, when I take the photo and I compare it to my swatches, they literally look identical. I do feel like I was able to find a pretty similar color story for sure, and the look I am wearing on my eyes right now is a look that I believe that you can create if you purchase the new Melt Cosmetics Millennial Pinx palette. So let's start off with the first color, and I automatically thought of a palette because I remember the tones seemed similar to this palette. And I want to say that because this palette here, the Natasha and Denona Sunrise, has a very peachy kind of undertone colorations coming on this side of the palette, and it kind of really reminded me. So I jumped into this color right here called Laurel. Now I feel like Laurel really looks similar. If you guys can tell in the swatch, it gives you a peachy undertone when it's swatched. When it's put on the eye, it has that peach undertone. When I was looking at the Melt Cosmetics image, I was looking at that color and just thinking, wow, that's really pretty. And it really reminded me so much of this color inside of the Natasha Denona Sunrise. I do feel like these two colors may look very similar on the lid. So for me, I feel like I have this color for sure. So the next color, I actually was jumping between a few palettes because I really wanted to grab it from this palette, because to the eye, you would think that Morgan right here would be that color, but I did have to use Morgan in this video, but not for this color. The color here from the new Nude and Huda Beauty, there's this color called Play, which looks similar to the eye as the color Morgan, but Play is actually a lot lighter. I feel like they're going to have a very similar undertone, and I really feel like this new palette is going to have almost that same peachy pink color. There may be a chance that the one inside of the new Millennial Pinx may go a little peacher, but I really don't think so. I really think that this might be a pretty good match from what I can see from the swatches. I think that might be a pretty good match. But then this is where I was able to jump into the Morgan color from Sunrise, because when I saw the color next to it and I had swatched the color Sunrise, I said, ooh, that's a pretty similar color. And Sunrise has this color Morgan. Morgan gives you a much deeper tone. So when people look at palettes and just look at this and say, oh no, there's no similar hues, guys, things swatch and go on the lid different. You need to actually touch it and actually swatch it to see the color, because Morgan looks so much lighter in the pan, but when swatched and put on the lid, that color's a lot deeper. So it actually looks very similar to the color that I am looking at in the swatch of the Millennial Pinx. I really think that this one may be pretty similar. So I actually, believe it or not, guys, I really like the first few hues. I don't know if you guys know, I really like peach. Peach to me is just a gorgeous color story. I love it. So the first few colors, I'm like, that's really pretty. But that being said, I do own it, and I will tell you so far, I love this palette. So I'm definitely thinking I'm leaning more to Sunrise. Okay, so this next color, I actually didn't think I was going to find it in Sunrise, but I did. I was looking at this color called Awakening, and Awakening, when swatched, it gives you more of a pinky undertone metallic feel, and it looks so similar. If you guys actually see my swatch of it under the daylight, you guys can see that this color, it actually swatches more of a peachy pink. And I really think that this one looks similar, like really similar. I love this tone. It's actually what I have all over my lids in the inside, and I love this. And I use this one a lot. I love Natasha Denona's formula. That is a great shade, and I really like it. So far, the first 4 shades are stunning in this palette, but I feel like I have it. I don't really feel like I need it. Now the next tone, I don't feel like I was able to find like 100%. I feel like the closest that I was able to get to this tone was inside of the Mini Sunset, and I grabbed this color right here. Now I do feel like the one that's inside of the Millennial may go a little bit more like a peachy brown than it is in the Sunset, that's a little bit more of a warmer brown. I feel like once this color is blended out on the lid, it may be very comparable to the color that's going to be inside the new Millennial palette. I don't think I personally would see such a big difference that it would make me want to buy already the other hues that I do feel like they're pretty damn comparable. So the next shade did remind me of Sunrise. Right when I saw it, I remembered seeing a color. Is this color called Phylux, I think it's called? But it's a little bit too red. So what I did was I jumped into Azalea and I mixed it right on top, and guys, it literally swatched to that shade. When I put them together, I honestly could see like that type of shade coming through. And I really feel like I created that color pretty spot on with the Sunrise palette. When you're kind of creating these type of shades, you can add more, add less. And I feel like this color looks really, really spot on to me. So the next color was another one that I found inside of Sunrise. I'm telling you guys, I really feel like Sunrise is the most comparable palette that I could find in my personal collection collection. And the color that I was able to compare it to was this one called Agate. And if you guys see it in the swatch, this actually has a little bit more yellow in it. And if you look at it, it really has a little bit more yellow in it, kind of like what I see going on in the Melt Cosmetics palette. So I do think that this color, I kind of have it. I feel like I have it. So I feel like this is the point that they decided to make the palette a little different. And I honestly have to say, I like the way that this new Melt Cosmetics palette did this, because I do like these ending shades, because they're like the shades that I kind of miss in some palettes, those deepening darker shades, because I'm somebody who loves to deepen out the outer edge. And sometimes I feel like palettes are forgetting that. Like even in this palette, I feel like sometimes I need to grab into something else because I don't feel like any of these are deep enough for what I want to do on the outer edge. So what I do love is what they did here. So this is where I think it starts to get kind of cool. And I know that some of these colors are probably boring to most of you guys, but I just like the combination. I like mixing these colors together. So the next color is a color that looks silver to me. I can't really tell if it has a shift to it. I think it doesn't. So what I'm gonna grab is this one right here from Huda Beauty, and it's this gorgeous silver. This silver, guys, is like liquid silver. It's so beautiful. And when I swatched it, it did give me a very comparable swatch to what I'm seeing in this Insta story. I did also look at the palette itself, and I was kind of looking at the color, and I feel like it's going to be like a kind of, I feel like it will be silver. So this is kind of a color that I do have, and I really love it in this palette, but I don't use silver very often. I like the color, but I tend to not use it. So, I mean, give or take, you know? Now, here's another cool part. So here's another one that's pretty cool. This is like a gray color, and I honestly have ordered a gray shadow from Makeup Geek. I've been waiting for it for 3 weeks or so. I've been waiting for the shadow forever, but it's supposed to be coming this week, and it's gonna be gray because I noticed that I don't really have too many grayish tones. I like this gray inside of this palette because it reminds me of a very dark gray, which I love a dark gray. And I don't really actually have one, but I did use one on my lids today, kind of deepening out my outer edge by doing this. Whenever I want to use like a grayish tone, what I'll do is I grab a little bit of black. So I grabbed it from the Huda Beauty. And then after you lay down the black on your lid or wherever you want to put it, you grab into a cream kind of color. So what I did was I grabbed into the new Nude, and I grabbed this first color up here called Bear. It's like a cream color. And then if you just put that on top, and when you start blending them together, you start to create gray, because white and black equal gray. So if you want to kind of do a gray using like a creamish color on top of a black, I feel it gives you a softer gray that I actually really love. So I was able to create that type of gray tone. It's not going to be exact. I feel like you can add as much black or as much cream as you want to kind of mimic this color, and you can kind of create it pretty similar. And I think that I was able to do something that kind of was within the same range as this color. I do like this color in this palette, and I really like what they did at the end of this palette to kind of just like tie everything together. In my opinion, I think it was really cool. And the last color to me looks like a black. So what I did was I just jumped into this black right here from Huda Beauty, which is insanely good. I love this black. And yeah, that's where I got my black from. And I usually use this Huda Beauty black for a lot of stuff because I really like it. I do think that this is a really cute palette. I do also think that it's nothing that we haven't seen before, besides adding a little bit of grays and blacks into the palette, which I think was a really cool detail that they added. And if you guys don't own this type of palette, I do like that it has that. I mean, some people might think it's too dramatic, but I like them together. I think it's kind of cool. So that brings us to the end of the palette and all the swatches, and you guys saw everything that I had to show you guys. And I think it's time for us to make up our minds. I'm going to say that I am going to make up my mind that I do not need this palette. And it's because I basically feel like I own a lot of shades. So when I think of, do I own this? I kind of have to say, yeah, I kind of do. And then if I think of the formula, I heard Melt Cosmetics has great formula. I haven't tried their shadows, but in the palettes that I reached into, guys, these are really good palettes for me. I love Natasha, Denona. Huda Beauty has a great formula as well. So I really like the formulas of the palettes that I reached into, and I use them very often, and I love them. So formula is not going to sway me here, really. I feel like I have good formulas, and all it really came down to was color story and whether I would use the color story. I feel like I would use this color story. I think it's very cute. I love the peaches with the gray and also the black. But I will tell you guys, if you own the Sunrise palette, I really feel like you have those really cool peaches, and all you have to do is really mix in some type of black or gray shadow, and you have primarily almost all the shades in this palette. So that's the reason that I'm definitely not going to be picking this up for sure. I think it's gorgeous, and I feel like if you guys are looking at this and you don't own something like the Sunrise, or if you guys don't own any of these kind of like peachy pink shades, I really think it's cool. I like it, but I've made up my mind I really don't need it. So I want to know from you guys, what are you guys thinking? Are you guys thinking of purchasing this palette? Did you search through your collection, and which palettes did you guys think it looked like? And leave me those comments down below. So I'm going to end the video just by saying I am guessing these colors based off of the swatches that I find online, and I do feel like a lot of companies are stepping up their game when it comes to photographing and images of their swatches and showing Insta story to really show you guys actual real colors, because a lot of makeup companies are releasing, at least for pre-sale, a lot of items online first, and they really need to show us real colors. And I feel like a lot of brands are doing that, and I have found a lot of accuracy in some of the swatches that I have seen. So I think that for the most part, I think that I can definitely say that I own a lot of these shades. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy that you guys are really enjoying this series. It really makes me happy, and I'm really trying my best to be on top of all these new releases and trying to get these videos out to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I'll probably be doing one at least once a week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you guys can see me again, because if not, I may never show up in your feed again. But thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, leave me those comments below. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.